Let's talk about how to use the ML Video Wall tool. When you open the scene, this is what you're going to see. This system is based on a 1 meter by 1 meter tile. So by default, we have a 5 by 3 tile system. Everything works from the center out with this system. And so you can just parametrically add more height and width to your screen here using these sliders. And so every one of these numbers is going to be a 1 meter tile that you kind of add to the unit. To add your artwork, all you have to do is just drag and drop into the image field, just like any other texture inside of Cinema 4D. You can also hit the folder here to launch your Finder or Explorer. And so I'm just going to bring in another piece of artwork here, and it's going to ask me, just like a material, if I want to make a local copy of that artwork. I don't, so I'm going to say no. And like that, it's updated our screen to our new artwork. Now, as we now change the size of this, so if we go back to 5 by 3, say 5 by 3, you'll see that the artwork has been compromised here slightly and is not filling the screen fully. So what we need to do here is grab both texture tags, both the screen lens and the LX lens, and then we'll say tags fit to object. And now it's kind of put the artwork back into its full size. So ideally, you are making the artwork the same proportion, same aspect ratio as your screen. But then if you need to make adjustments here, you can just fit to object to get this to work. Now, below this is the brightness, and there's two different sliders here. So one is screen and the other is light output. So I'm just going to take the light output and turn this off for a minute. So the screen brightness is affecting how bright the actual imagery of your artwork is on the screen. But you'll notice that it's not throwing any light out into the room. And if you've worked with ginormous video walls, you'll know that they're really bright and they throw a lot of light out. So what's happening here? If we start to just crank up the screen brightness, you're going to see that all we really get is just burnt out artwork. So this is going to affect the colors and the look of our artwork. And it's still not actually throwing a lot of light out into the room. So I'm going to take this back down. So the screen is really just controlling the visible look of your actual screen. And then the light output is a separate slider here. So there's an invisible system here that's using your artwork to then also throw light out into the room. And you can control the brightness and intensity of this from the light output slider. So you'll see here, if I were to change artwork and go to this kind of purpley pink artwork in here, that you'll see that the light output here is now within the color realm of the light. So the artwork does really drive kind of what we're seeing in both the light and the screen output. So you have individual control over those things. So like I said, ideally you are making your artwork fit proportionately to the screen, but sometimes we need to change things. Sometimes we're working fast. So I have added these image adjustment sliders in here. So you can, if you want, control the length on U and V to kind of shrink or stretch things out. And then you can also adjust the vertical here as well. And then offset is going to let you keep the size the same, but actually slide the tiles around left and right. So hopefully this will let you kind of dial in what you need. And with any of these controls, you can just right click and say reset to default. And this will take you back to kind of where everything started right from the beginning. And that's it for controlling the unit. I do want to just kind of fly around to the back here, just so you can kind of see here. I think we'll probably have to add a light here. So let's add an area light. And just pull this back a little bit so you can see here. So there is a very simple kind of low poly model job here on the back of these tiles to look like a tile, like a real tile. So if you're doing clay renders, if you're doing angled screens that you might see from the side, there is just enough detail in there to kind of make it look realistic without kind of going crazy on the polygon count. So that's an important thing to know. If you need it, it's there. And that's it for using the ML video wall tool. Okay, I lied. That's not it. There's one more thing. If you want to have multiple video walls inside your scene, there's a certain way that you need to set it up. So if I take the video wall here and I just hold Control and drag it to make a copy, when we add a new texture now to this secondary wall, you're going to see that what happens is they both update. And so they're both sharing materials. And so if your screens want to have the same material, this is great. But if you want different materials, this isn't going to work. So here's the workaround for this. All you have to do is, instead of using Control Drag, you just have to actually copy and paste. So if I select the wall, I'm going to hit Control C and then Control V to paste. And now this is going to change how it works in the background. And so when we bring in a new texture, now you can have different artwork on different video walls. And that's it for the ML video wall.